Good afternoon. My name is Crimson Skies, and welcome to day 9 of my Entropia journey. Starting off my day, knowing I only needed to do 3 more hunts to finish my 10 hunt test, even though at this point I knew I wasn't going to make any returns. I was dedicated to finishing it. Making my way back to North Swamp Camp, prepped and ready for the hunt, just like every other time. Here are my weapon stats for the Z12 Barbarella with the Eagle Eye and Synchronous attachments. Efficiency is 61.8%. Tier 0.68. Ammo burn 255. 45 attacks per minute. Damage interval 5.2 to 10.3. Range 60.1. Hit ability 9.7. And critical hit ability 9.7. My skills that I believe to be important are Aim, 484, Anatomy, 585, Combat Reflexes, 137, Evade, 81, Inflict Range Damage, 223, Laser Weaponry Technology, 882, Perception, 196, Rifle, 696, Skinning, 176, and Weapons Handling, 284. And last but not least, my professions. Laser Sniper level 4, Ranged Laser level 3, Evader level 0, and Animal Looter level 1. I will also be using the IO Pulse unit for healing. With all of that out of the way, I begin the hunt. For this hunt, I did get a couple of decent drops. 2.23 ped and shrapnel for one, 1.81 in total loot for another, and another dropped 5 different loot that equaled to 1.62. There was a couple more, but nothing of real note. Heading back, I was feeling a little hopeful for this one. Going to the trade terminal and counting up all of my loot, I got 10.37. Adding that with the shrapnel, which was 13.83, I got a total of 24.2. Immediately crushing all of my hopes and dreams, knowing that just a cost of 1,000 shots is 25.5 ped. I was already down. But let's just see how much with my repairs, which was 1.05, making my costs 26.55, meaning I lost 2.35 ped for my 8th hunt, totaling my losses to negative 25.744. Fortunately, I only have 2 more hunts until my 10 hunt goal. Moving my loot to storage and converting the shrapnel to ammo, I prep for my next hunt. Before we begin, I will go over the stat changes to my weapon. Attacks per minute is now 46. Damage interval 5.2 to 10.4. Range 60.5. And both hit ability and critical hit ability are now 10. With that out of the way, time to begin. Early on, I did get a drop worth 1.3 ped. However, this quickly turned into me getting barely anything of note for a little while. At some point, I did get another Codex rank with Exosaurs, and shortly after that, a very nice drop worth 4.25. Almost immediately after that drop, with 5 different items totaling 1.36, these drops were starting to cause me to hope a little. Heading back with stars in my eyes, I run to the trade terminal, add up all my loot, getting 12.41, my shrapnel being 13.17, giving me a total of 25.58. Oh no! With my ammo being 25.5 and my repairs being 0.91, I get a total of 26.41, giving me a loss of 0.83 for Hunt 9. Not too bad, but in total I'm now down 26.57 for ped. Unfortunately, at this point something came up, so I quickly put my stuff in storage and logged off. Now, finishing with that stuff and logging back on, I get ready for my 10th and final hunt for my experiment. So determined to finish this task, I may have forgotten to check any of my stats before beginning this hunt. And so we don't get a final look into any of my weapon stats, skills, or professions. However, I doubt it's that much different from my start today, so I'll just have to let it slide. And I think the game knew as well, because looking through, I found nothing of any real note or value except for another codex rank up. So, heading back and checking my loot, I made 6.54. My shrapnel, 12.38. In total, I made 18.92 ped, with ammo being 25.5 and my repairs being 0.91, totaling my costs to 26.41. So, I lost 7.49 ped, totaling my entire experiment, now that I'm finished, to a 34.064 loss. Now, since I have done my 10 hunt experiment, I totaled up the amount I made from every hunt, equaling to 230.67 ped. My costs were 264.04 ped. Now, if I remember correctly on how to figure out a percentage, taking my total gains, dividing it by my costs, then I simply multiply it by 100. Now, if I'm wrong, please let me know so I can correct my math. However, with the process in which I described, I had gotten an 87.3% in returns. Now, of course, my math could be wrong, so please, once again, if I mess this process up, let me know. Also, to keep in mind, this 87.3% only really relates to me with my skills, profession, weapon of choice, and healing item I used. So please keep in mind that you may very well get a different return based on your stats, professions, or weapon of choice. I won't say that this is the guaranteed percentage you should expect. There are obviously a lot of variables to play a part. It's just what I got from my experiment as a new player. But I didn't end my day here. Moving on, I take all the loot I made and head back to Port Atlantis, going to the auction house and looking at how much I can sell my loot. I got a little worried if I was even going to be able to sell them, so considering my options, I sell it all in the trade terminal. At this point, I'd just rather have quick cash so that I can work on something else. One thing that did come to my mind was wondering if a melee weapon would maybe help limit my costs. After all, I wouldn't have to worry about ammo. And since I did make a decent amount of ped, I quickly look up what people suggested which melee weapon to use on forums. The first one someone recommended was some Rep Edge Battle Axe, mentioning it had a 70.4% efficiency. And so I went and looked it up. Seemed nice on the Wikia, so I went to see if any were selling on the market. And just so happens, there was exactly one selling with a buyout price of 20 ped. So I bought it. However, looking now as I'm editing it, this isn't even the right battle axe. The recommended one is a 2XO, as the one I bought was 1XO. So, should always look at the little things, Goodness. Now, after that was purchased, the thing I really wanted to do was work on my crafting and trying to increase the quality rating of that basic filtered blueprint I was working on earlier. Buying up 300 Listerium and oil, I begin my crafting. Quickly getting bored and looking through that forum to see what other weapons were recommended. Now, I had just bought one, so I wasn't really interested in buying another one. At least not at this moment. But the thing that interested me was people talking about overamping in an item they referred to as a SIB. I haven't really looked into what a SIB is yet, but I do plan on doing it next time I play. For now, I was pretty lost as to what everyone was talking about on the forum post. Once the crafting finished, I was excited to try out my new weapon. However, this weapon required level 100 skills, so I was worried if I was even going to be able to use it. In order for me to test it, I went back to Camp Icarus and fought a few of the punies there. Now, quickly realizing this thing was hitting pretty hard, and I definitely wasn't going to make anything off the punies, I went back to North Swamp Camp and fought the Exosaurs. Now, this thing was super fun to use. I was demolishing these poor mobs, but I very rapidly noticed that the durability was going down fast, almost too fast. Once the weapon ran out of durability, I quickly headed back to see if I made enough to cover the repair cost. Lo and behold, I didn't. But do take in mind, I did use it to kill a few punies before I went to kill the Exosaur, so maybe I could have come up a little bit closer than what I actually did. Now, with what I did make, I made 5.5 ped in loot. So I already knew I wasn't going to cover the repair cost. So I didn't even bother looking. Instead, I bought the knife on the trade terminal for 9 ped because someone recommended me to try the trade terminal weapons. And so I attempted to fight the Exorsaurs. Realizing I wasn't going to win that fight, I quickly ran off. But so unfortunately, with nothing having really gone my way today, a lot of losses and almost feeling like I bought the wrong weapon, which turned out I did. in post processing, of course, I decided it was time to call it a night and logged out. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.